Getting used is never a good feeling, especially in a relationship. Here are 5 signs to watch out for if your partner is using you. Welcome to Lifestyle Therapy channel. Stay tuned. To get access to the latest from Lifestyle Therapy, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. 5 signs he's using you for his own gain. Number 1. See if he only contacts you on the weekdays. If he gets in touch with you on weeknights, but you almost never hear from him on the weekends, it's because he's reserving the weekends for the women that he actually thinks are worth dating. If you never hear from him until rarely on Friday or Saturday nights, but come Tuesday, his schedule is wide open, then it's because he expects your legs to be wide open too. Number 2. Once you do go out, he only asks you out again every once in a while. This time you do go out, and you have the most amazing first date. He texted a bit before and after meeting you. You know he enjoyed the date as much as you did. But for whatever reason, he doesn't call you again for a few weeks. Then a text shows up again, and he asks you on another date, which is just as great as the first one. You think you're finally getting somewhere with this guy. But he does his disappearing act and doesn't show up again for several weeks. What is going on? This is the kind of man who dates around. He had a good time with you, but then he moves on to the other women. Dating multiple women feeds his ego, and allows him to feel popular and in demand. Number 3. He doesn't see you if sex isn't possible. This, above all others, should be a clear sign that you're in the being used category. If he never bothers to see you day or night, unless he thinks sex is possible, you can easily deduce that's all he wants. Number 4. He will not talk about committing to the relationship. The idea of commitment can be intimidating, but it is a very important conversation to have with your guy, if you have not already discussed it. Try to bring up the discussion of being in a committed relationship. If it is something that he avoids having to talk about, then consider what he is getting out of your arrangement. Does he get affection, attention, and favors from you? If this is true but he will not talk seriously about your relationship, then he might be using you for his own gain. Number 5. You've never met his friends and family. If you are dating a guy, and you've never once met any of friends or family members, he doesn't take you or your relationship seriously at all. A real man would be proud to show you off, and introduce you to important people in his life, while a user will try his best to keep you a secret. You shouldn't settle for being swept under the rug by any man, and you definitely shouldn't let him pretend that you don't even exist. You should know your worth, and understand that this kind of behavior is not acceptable by any means. If a guy treats you this way, it's best to recognize the signs and remove yourself from the equation. Your guy should be super willing to have you meet his friends, and eventually his family once things get serious. If you have yet to get acquainted with anyone from his personal life, he definitely doesn't see you as a priority. Be honest with yourself, you could totally do better. Five signs she's using you for attention. Number 1. She doesn't reply to your texts, but tags you on social media. A girl who regularly uses people for attention is definitely one to have a self-imposed ever-present persona on social media. It takes her ages to reply to your texts and pick up your calls, yet her Facebook status is frequently updated, and she just posted a photo on Instagram. Not just that, she actually tags you on those posts, so others can see just how social and cool she is to be hanging out with you. Number 2, she's flaky. She may have agreed to hang out with you this weekend, but come Friday night, she has a list of excuses as to why she can't. Now, sometimes things happen, but if it's like this every time you try to hang out with her, well, she's just playing you. If someone wants to see you, they make the time and effort to do so. And if she can't make the time for you, it's definitely one of the clearest signs she's using you for attention, and nothing more. Number 3, When you voice your needs, she makes you feel like a bad person for it. A lot of users, particularly after they get access to what they want, try to avoid doing anything they don't want to do. If your needs are not being met because of that avoidance, users will often turn your own needs against you. So, if you haven't had sex in a year, she may say, "It's always about sex with you," or "Stop being perverted." If you're low on money, she may say, "Why can't you provide for me?" Number 4, see if she shows you off. Meaning, see if she actually wants you to meet her friends and family. If she deflects questions about getting together with her friends, she may be using you. A person who is excited to be in an honest relationship will likely want you to meet the other people she cares about. Number 5, she only likes to go out. She knows you have access to some of the most fun spots, so all she wants to do is go out. It's no coincidence. You've never heard her say she wants to stay in. But when you two decide to stay home, she becomes indifferent and moody. Do you notice she barely talks to you while spending time inside? In contrast, she's more in a positive mood when you're out doing different activities. While it is discouraged to stay in all the time and have the same routine, it is important to take a few steps back once you start noticing suspicious signs. It's also been advised to keep the relationship alive by spicing things up, so it's okay if going out tends to be more common than staying in. It's when her attitude is noticeably different, between staying in and going out, that starts to get concerning. Try entertaining her inside the house and see if she's up for it. Number 1. Stop worrying so much about what other people think of you. The only reason why you would take something someone says about you personally, is if the approval of the person you're interacting with, is important to you. Realize the following: the truth is, not everyone has to like and accept you. In addition, you can't control what others think of you, even if you follow all of the rules, and do everything right. How others respond to you is outside of your circle of influence. If you accept yourself, and act in the way that you think is right, you'll attract people who will accept you for who you are. That is, people around whom you don't have to worry about what they're thinking of you, because you know they love you. Number 2, realize that some people say stupid things. When most people talk, they aren't thinking about you, or anyone else. It does take some time, energy, and skill to formulate an intentional dig at someone. In other words, most people are not going to waste their time thinking of ways to intentionally hurt someone. Most people aren't thinking about you and your sensitivities. There are many people who say hurtful things because they don't know how to express themselves, and they are oblivious to their audience. This is no excuse for rude behavior, but at least you know in some instances it is not about you. What people say is always more about themselves than anyone else. Number 3, take time to react. Many times, we don't even give the other person a chance to explain before we jump in and speak our minds. Make sure you slow down, take some deep breaths, and really listen to the other person before you jump to conclusions. You might end up totally misconstruing their meaning, or mishearing them altogether. Oftentimes, when we react immediately after someone finishes speaking, we haven't even allowed ourselves the time to process the words coming out of the other person's mouth. Use your active listening skills, and try not to give a response until you have thoroughly heard the other person out. Number 4, refocus your attention. When you take things personally, you shift your attention from what someone said or did, to how you feel. Those feelings can intensify if you fixate on them. You might even catch yourself rehearsing over and over what you would have said back to the person if you could. This is known as ruminating. There are a number of strategies to help you stop ruminating over a problem. Some of these include: try mindfulness exercises. Be present in the moment, which will bring you away from a previous moment that you're ruminating about. Take a walk. Get a change of scenery to distract your mind from the problem. Number 5. Ask yourself what else the comment or behavior might mean. For example, if someone doesn't smile or say hello, they might be shy, have something on their mind, or they didn't see you. If someone is critical, they may genuinely want to help you, and it might not be intended as a personal attack. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you find it useful, don't forget to share it, and make sure to subscribe to see more video in the future. Thanks for watching, and see you soon.